welcome back to your Feel Good Tuesday morning. This is Expresso on SABC3. Now, as you may already know, that it is Sustainability Week this week, which is all about improving the state of our planet and finding a balance between our coexistence with our environment around us. But I guess the big question is, can you, as the average South African, contribute to global sustainability? Well, here's how.
Today marks the start of Sustainability Week, and looking at the state of the world today, there is no doubt that becoming more sustainable is one of our major issues facing humanity today, certainly from a South African perspective. From climate change to access to clean water to the way we manage our waste, what can we do as individuals on the ground level to ensure that our species survives on our very vulnerable planet? Now, with us in studio to try to answer that rather complex question is Gordon Brown from Alive to Green. Gordon, thank you so much for joining us. And the work that you do really does stand out. Before we get into what we can do as individuals, how dire is the situation? Why is there this groundswell now to focus on sustainability? And it's reached us as individuals.
Yeah, well, I think the key issue is we're reaching a certain number of tipping points worldwide, and that's bringing these issues to a fore. Obviously, the one that is driving things is the issue of CO2 emissions and climate change. So that's the one that world leaders have really embraced, and you have a whole series of climate change negotiations that take place where countries negotiate with each other in terms of their total emissions. There's this whole sort of raft or shift between developed world and the developing world. You know, the developed world developed dirty, now they want the developing world to develop clean. Yeah. Now, clean is obviously perceived to be more expensive as well. So big producers like China, India and Brazil and ourselves to some degree, we're saying, well, wait a minute, you guys took the shortcut, why should we take the long cut? And then you must pay if there's a premium. So these are the types of discussions that are happening, and I think from a consumer point of view, we're confronted with these images of the proverbial polar bear on the ice cap and so forth. But I think coming closer to home, we have a major threat to species here. Obviously, we don't have polar bears, but we have things like Cape fynbos, for instance, and we've got a whole string of species that are being brought to the brink through things like river pollution, ocean pollution. And these are things that are being determined in some part by simple things like the meat we eat and how those animals are farmed and so forth, how things are transported. From a sustainability point of view, yes, how dire is the situation? Well, that is a very long question to answer, but yes, things are not great. But the fact is we still have so much. We still have so much in terms of biodiversity. Our world is certainly a wonderful place to live in. So the question is, with the writings on the wall, what do we need to do? How do we need to change the way we do things in order not to have that possible outcome come about?
There is still so much left to protect, and we've seen the knock-on effect that things, certainly from a clean water perspective here in South Africa, what that actually means to communities on that base level. So all of that being said, we've got so much pressure driving us to invest in things that aren't sustainable when we look at modern culture at the moment. So what do we do as individuals, me as Graham, to start turning that tide? And I like the fact that you brought some fantastic documentation with you that you guys are driving that does paint a very clear picture. But in brief, what can we start to do as individuals?
Well, I think to understand what we can do, it's important just to understand how the world works, I think. And one of the key things there is to understand the economy. And quite simply, what I mean by that is the economy will produce what we as consumers buy.
What we ask for.
Yeah. So we don't always buy what we need. In fact, we don't buy what we need, we buy what we want.
Yeah.
And so, a level of consciousness on our part in terms of what we buy, in my view, can go in a tremendously long way. So there's the behavior issues, and then there's the consumer issues. And in many ways, what we consume actually has a bigger impact because it sends a message down what is a very complex chain of understanding in terms of what's produced. To understand it very simply, if we look at, in essence, 5 headings: energy, water, waste, transport, and then human and environmental health. Okay, so energy is pretty simple, and frankly, when you save energy, you also save money. So energy is a good one to focus on because in these tough times, saving energy means you're saving money.
It's been made all that much more relevant. Okay, then quickly I'm going to ask you, because you are going on a major educational drive at the moment, how can we connect with the Green Fair? What's that all about?
As far as reaching out to the public is concerned, we have an engagement called the Green Home Fair, which is being hosted at the Brooklyn Mall on Saturday and Sunday, 27th and 28th of June. And we certainly invite everybody in the area, and from anywhere in Gauteng for that matter, please go along, spend a day at the mall, check out the Green Home Fair, hang out with exhibitors, learn about things like, everything from solar water heaters to water tanks and how you can, arrange your guttering to capture water, growing veggie gardens, how to recycle, why you should recycle, and all sorts of interesting and innovative things.
The fun side of science, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Gordon, thank you so much for coming through. Thank you. I've learned a huge amount already this morning, so I look forward to sinking my teeth into all of this. And I really do urge a lot of people to get into Sustainability Week. Educate yourself, I think, is always the first step. Gordon, thank you so much.
Thanks, Graham.
Awesome. Well, I think we can all play a part in becoming more sustainable. The Green Home Fair is free of charge, so you've got no excuses, and takes place, as Gordon said, from the 27th to the 28th of June at the Brooklyn Mall in Pretoria. But why not make a change in your home right now? Let's focus on energy today, maybe. Look at how you can conserve energy and what kind of a knock-on effect that's going to have, not just for you, but for our entire country. Stop looking at it as a negative thing, but the opportunity to do something really positive for you, for your country, for this beautiful planet that we share.